what a world without us will be like. I wonder if one of the ways that we can gauge our effectiveness as suicide prevention leaders is what the world's going to be like when we are gone. The truth is that a world without us is just not some idea. It's absolutely inevitable. This is my Uncle Mike when he was at his happiest. He loved to fish. He was our danger uncle. I remember 4th of July party, my grandma's giant zoysia grass backyard. Mike dragging all of the nephews, dragging us by our feet across the yard. My grandma yelling and screaming at him to stop. Us giggling and laughing at the sheer joy of defiance until the grass itch and burn settled in. My Uncle Mike had a deep, gravelly voice that sounded like a river running over giant, smooth rocks. He had long, curvy, luxurious hair. He had a long, sad face. This was my Uncle Mike the last time I ever saw him alive. Christmas. He was working at a union factory with my grandpa. He was getting paranoid. He believed people were out to get him. People were trying to harm him. The people at his job were tormenting him. He wanted to quit. He wanted to go live with my grandma in San Diego. My grandpa could not lose his son, my Uncle Mike. They fought at the Christmas party. It escalated. My Uncle Mike stormed out of the house at the Christmas gathering. The last time we saw him alive, he killed himself that spring. Every Christmas at the Andrews house is a Christmas without my Uncle Mike. Mike just didn't fit in. He didn't fit in with the world. I identify with that. I identify with people who don't fit in. He was 29 and couldn't find a way to live. This was me, my last year of graduate school, almost a psychologist. I was the epitome of a junkie savant. I was always packed and holding. My reliable sidekicks were microbrews and Tanqueray, and I had the most deliciously deviant friends who knew where all the secret, exciting things were. This is the me I wanted to be. I wanted to be a professional psychologist. I was a Boulder model junkie. I lived research. I loved clinical practice. I was really good at what I did. I wanted to be acceptable, respectable. I wanted to have a future. I wanted to be normal, like the rest of you. These two things were not compatible. They could not survive together. They were squeezing me so tight I couldn't breathe, and the only way I could survive was by running. And when I couldn't run anymore, I tried to kill myself. I was 29, like my uncle. I did not fit in the world. Truth? I don't feel like I fit completely now. Here, on this stage, among the tribe I have chosen, the people I love, adore, and respect, I still feel like a fraud. I feel like an imposter. I feel like I just don't fit in. I am both cursed and blessed to be present in the world and still sometimes not feel in some way completely a part of it. I can see what the world is like with me in it. And I can see what the world is like without me at the same time. We have varying degrees of this in our lives. Most of us are so focused on the present that we don't see a future is coming where we are dead and gone. People at risk of suicide have the opposite experience. They're so focused on their pain and their suffering in the moment, they can't see a future with them in it. This is a problem. In the end, the real deal here is that we should be preparing for a world without us. We in suicide prevention should be trying to put ourselves out of business. We should be striving for a world where suicide prevention, where the science of life is so ingrained in every nook and cranny of our community and culture that we don't need suicidologists. That's not what I'm seeing, folks. This is what I see. I see a bunch of fat cats, super smart, doing super cool things, drinking cups of coffee, and in between naps trying to do a little something. That's what I see. Call it like I see it. We are complacent. Super complacent. In 2014, I was here at this conference. I was at a panel, 5 panelists, academics, extolling the virtue and the evidence base of suicide intervention training for professionals. It makes us more confident. It builds skills. The science says it saves lives. I'm excited about this. I raised my hand. I'm that guy at the panel. Hey, I got a question. I said, hey, this is great. Why are we training all of our graduate students in suicide? Long pause. And then one academic said, you don't think our graduate students are really ready to work with people at risk of suicide yet? This is my face. Are you freaking kidding me? In these halls, a suicide expert says shit like this? Now maybe my outrage is unfair and I am being unkind. Maybe. These graduate programs are using a Supernachian, telepathic, Posnerian suicide severity rating scale with a Coppersmithian social media surveillance system that's turbocharged with a predictive modeling algorithm that ensures that 100% of the clients our graduate students are treating are suicide-free. They solved it. We've got it. The graduate schools who don't want their students working with people at risk of suicide have been hiding this from us. Woo! Or maybe, let me say this, maybe they're full of crap. Because guess what? We've got data on this. 17% of clinical psychology graduate students experienced a client's suicide death. Another 19% experienced a suicide attempt. And we all know, we're all experts, those are low base rate events, my friends. If that high of a percentage of experienced events, we know that the overwhelming majority, if not every single graduate student, is working with a person at risk of suicide. We just ain't acknowledging it. What are we doing about that? Yeah, you better clap. We're doing this kind of stuff. You know, I was going to read this slide to you, but I just don't care at this point. I don't care if these numbers are accurate. I don't give a crap, because I'm going to tell you right now, the only number that should be up on the slide is 100% of our graduate students and our professionals trained in evidence-based suicide. Are you kidding me? It's 2017. I got another little secret for y'all. When I tell non-mental health professionals that we don't train all of our mental health professionals in suicide assessment and intervention, they're like, what? So they think, the general public thinks we already do this. Well, guys, suckers. Gotcha. I so gotcha. We gotcha. No, we don't really do that. We don't. Now, can you imagine a world where doctors and nurses were not required to be trained in CPR? You can't. And mental health professionals are exponentially more likely to encounter a person at risk of suicide than a medical staff member is ever going to have to use CPR. What do we make of this? We know that it's not only likely, but probable that graduate students are going to work with people at risk of suicide, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We know for a fact that it is absolutely impossible to screen out people at risk of suicide from graduate clinics. We can't do it. It ain't going to happen. We also know that suicide intervention assessment training works and saves lives. Now, what do we call this thing? What do we call a thing where an agency or a provider is fully aware of a risk and a population that they have to treat, and they are not adequately prepared to treat that population? It's unethical. It's unethical. Not training our graduate students in suicide assessment and intervention is unethical. Providers out in the field right now who aren't trained in suicide assessment and intervention are practicing unethically. Yeah, it is unethical. People don't like that word. Oh no, unethical. It is unethical. Now let's take another case example. Now when we look at therapists sleeping with their patients, we didn't say, God, we really need an awareness campaign to let all these providers know they should not be having sex with their patients. We got to do more awareness on this, folks. It's a big deal. We didn't spend 50 years slaving over a literature base to say, hey, there's really good evidence that having sex with your patients is not good. Ain't that something? Not with suicide, though. That's not the approach we took with suicide. In many ways, we have tolerated a high level of unethical behavior in our field around suicide. I'm sick of it. I said it. I said our field as a whole is engaging in an unethical practice. Not training your graduate students in suicide assessment intervention is unethical. Being a provider out in the field, not having adequate training to work with people at risk of suicide is unethical. I am not taking it back. You can't make me take it back. So maybe there's a little tension in the room. I just called out the entire field. I said, we're unethical. Get used to it. Feel that tension. Because it isn't the only tension that this august body is facing right now. There is a tremendous energy in this community, but we've got some problems right here in the River City that is AAS. We've got researchers who don't think AAS values research anymore, that we're not focused on research enough, that we don't care about the science anymore. Maybe they're right. We've got people with lived experience who, even though they're finally at the table, don't feel truly appreciated. Yeah, we give them some awards, but do the researchers really care and value their input? Or are we just putting lipstick on a pig? Maybe they're right. One story that really emphasizes this for me is on the listserv. There was an exchange between some researchy folks and some lived experience folks, and it escalated, and one of the researchy folks said, suicide attempt survivors will never really be normal anyway. Oh, clench your butt at that, brothers and sisters. Well, that's a little biased, isn't it? There's a little bias in that. I can see that. But let me tell you something. We'd never say that about a cancer survivor. But then I thought about it. Is that really that untrue? Can we all agree that suicide attempt survivors are never the same after their attempt? Can we agree with that? Can we agree that people with lived experience are changed? I think we can agree on that. I will never be the same person again after my suicide attempt. And that's a wonderful, beautiful thing. There is so much wisdom that lived experience can bring this community, and the researchers have got to get on board with that. Right now, we've got a lived experience versus research phenomenon going on. Things that should fit together are not fitting together. And all you lived experience folks, if you think I'm just here to drag the researchers, oh no. I got some words for you too, my lovelies. Being offended is not a robust outcome measure. It ain't. Telling people to check their privilege is not an evidence-based practice, and we are not going to solve the suicide problem with a focus group of a bunch of lived experience folks ranting and raving about how the researchers and clinicians are a bunch of poo-poo heads. That's not going to get it done. We need and have the opportunity to create the science of lived experience. This is going on. It's going, but we're not moving quick enough. Dr. G. Cyril and Desiree L. Stage, who, no, don't give her any more awards, okay? She's got your name. Are working on this. Doctors Milner and Knock did a beautiful study that taught us more about the pathway to suicide, and they used lived experience to do that. And in the end, I'm going to tell you that our field is misnamed. The science of lived experience is really the science of life. We should be talking about lifeology, not suicidology. It is not enough to stop suicide when people are living in pain and misery. The things that we are learning about making the courage to live through pain contagious. I got you, David Boo. Where are you at? Right? That's what we should be striving for. It's an absolute imperative. This brings me to another point that we neglect in our field. Suicide prevention is inherently political and personal at the same time. Access to healthcare is access to life. Access to education and jobs is access to hope. Being able to love who you want to love and have the family that you want to have is a right, and this is a political issue. We need to have political interventions. At the same time, this is deeply personal. If you're not here at this conference or in this field because you have a deep personal mission to end pain and misery and help people live, what the hell are you doing here? There have been panels the last couple of days talking about this. It's been all over the news. We have communities that are flooded in despair. The suicide rate is up. Overdose rate is up. Economic opportunity is down. These people are drowning in a culture that has abandoned them. They don't feel like they fit in. We're not going to solve this with science, my friends. It's political. This does not fit with our understanding of suicide. Edwin Schneidman sent a letter to the editor in 1993 calling out the establishment about the danger of medicalizing suicide prevention. He said our singular focus on mental illness is a danger because it distracts us from a focus on the human condition of pain and suffering. Yes. We did not listen. The founder of this organization gave us a warning sign and we ignored it. We ignored it. Look, you can talk about your genetics, and you can talk about mental illness, and I'll tell you why we do that. It's convenient. If it's something that's wrong with me or them, then I ain't got to address all this other stuff over here. Ask South Korea, where their suicide rate tripled in the space of 3 years, about this. It's about the environment. It's about the human condition. And we need to take a step back and start addressing these environmental contributors to suicide. Quit blaming people at risk of suicide. Maybe we need to fix the crappy culture and system around them. I'm just saying. This really hit home for me a few years back when a young man told me a story, a 14-year-old at middle school, and decided to kill himself. He was going to do it that day in that danger period between getting home from school and parents getting home from work. He had made this decision. Another young man who didn't even know came up to the table and said, "My friends and I noticed that you're sitting alone, and we would like you to come sit with us." He almost said no. But something changed. And he got up and he sat at the table. And he didn't kill himself. That young man's name was Darren. And when he told me the story, tears were pouring down my face. Suicide assessment didn't save this man, young person, this youth. Suicide intervention, evidence-based practice didn't save his life. A single act of human kindness saved his life. We need a bigger table. We need to make sure that people who don't fit are brought to our table. I don't feel like I fit, and that's exactly why I belong at this table. I have a feeling that the folks that are in this room are folks that didn't fit anywhere else. We're a big table of folks that didn't fit in the other places. And this is absolutely vital. Absolutely vital. There's one thing, if we're going to prepare for a world without us, if we're really going to leave the world in a better place, there's one thing that we need to do, and we need to do it every single day. Go out and make somebody's world less painful today. I absolutely dare you.